when that happens. So, guys, I'm just going to increase the size of that over there, which makes it a lot easier for us to read. There we go. Alright, guys, so, like I said, we now have our Dev Q&A. We've had 3 days of streaming to Attila, and it's been good fun. We started off as the Saxons, invaded England, died in England, become a horde and went through France, and then we played as Eastern Roman Empire, and that was difficult to say the least. There was a lot of touch and go moments where the entire empire could have fell.
And now you're playing the other side.
Yeah, and kind of dying slightly. So, well, what are you going to do? It's not an easy game. So, some of the questions we've seen. So, actually, one I wanted to touch on, because when we were playing, it was quite an interesting one. The tier system. A lot of battles have been very fast and furious, and people are wondering exactly why, or what's been the thought behind the tier system.
So, kind of the idea behind the tier system was that we'd kind of help the user see the different kind of eras of units as you're going through the game. So you've got 3 tiers that you go through. So tier 1 is early, so at the very start of the game, pretty much all units are going to be tier 1. And then as they get more elite and as the game progresses, so you research new units using the tech tree, and that unlocks kind of batches. So you unlock like tier 2 horsemen, and then you move forward through the game, and later on you get tier 3 horsemen. And it's kind of a way of judging. Like a tier 3 unit will generally be a lot better than the tier below its units.
Yeah.
And move on that way. So it's just kind of a way for you to easily see the different unit strengths against one another.
Yeah. So let's see if we can grab a few other questions. Can you defeat the Huns in the campaign?
You can. You have to go through Attila to get to them, though.
Yeah, it's...
No, they're like all other factions. They've got, like, you know, you can engage in diplomacy with them, you can kind of fight them, battle and defeat their armies, and you can eventually work them out. But they're going to be a bit tough. Until Attila's been dealt with, it's going to be very difficult to actually...
Alright. Can you change capitals?
No, not at present.
Yeah, if you lose your capital.
Yeah,
but
if you resettle, you
yeah,
gain
if
a
you
new
resettle,
capital.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a very nice little... I like to just choose places to go to. Like I said, southern Spain for the Saxons is definitely my prime real estate.
It's nice and warm down there.
How does food work in the game? Does it build up over time, or does it get used over time?
So food is basically on a basis of you produce a certain amount of food per turn, and you use a certain amount of food and you have a surplus. You don't store it per se, it's simply about how much you're generating compared to how much you're using. So it's kind of very similar to Rome 2 in that way.
Question, explain food system. How does civil wars work?
So kind of civil wars are now a lot more dynamic. It's basically dependent on if a general's loyalty falls to 0. They will break away from your faction and then initiate a civil war, essentially. But you can have multiple civil wars going on at once, with kind of like lots of people breaking away in turns. So you could lose a general, then another general will go, and then a third general will go, and suddenly you're fighting the kind of separatists on all fronts, as it were.
Yeah. For an example, during one of my playthroughs when we were on tour, took the Saxons, south of Spain, settled. I had 2 armies at that time. I switched my religion because I thought it must be easier to be a Christian in a kind of a Christian land, which ended up with my slightly disloyal general deciding that he didn't like that, and the fact that I was in a foreign land and my people didn't kind of like that either, and all of a sudden I had a civil war, which the Romans then joined in on against me.
So I
was just like...
But I mean, also, for example, if you put a general as a governor of a province, for example, like, you know, his loyalty is important for that province. If he rebels, he's going to take that province with him as he goes, if you know what I mean. So you've got to be a bit careful with who you put where, and not let them get too disloyal.
Yeah, so let's see if we can grab any other questions. So, can I set fire to forests?
Yes, yeah, you can burn down forests to try and kind of like remove the impediment to you, as it were, and yeah, like definitely burn them down.
Where should we get? See, if you see any you want to answer, just jump in there and grab it.
No, you can't rename your faction.
Can't rename your faction, but you can rename...
Can't sail to the new world.
Not yet. You can't just jump on a boat and... maybe a wooden submarine.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where that one
came
from in my head. To the future.
No, the Huns cannot settle. They remain a horde throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I made that mistake.
Too many going through.
Oh, I know. It's, I could put chat into slow mode. which is very much yeah. Go. That should kick in in a second.
Yes, you do get a diplomatic penalty for looting and raising cities.
Yeah, a lot of people are asking why I was raising so much. Technically, sacking is generally a lot more useful if you want to get a load of gold, but if you want to deny territory or really just be a nuisance to someone...
It's also the cost of rebuilding as well. They lose all the money they put in that settlement and have to kind of restart as well. But also you've got to remember that if you keep raising provinces, it does actually affect your own unit's integrity. Like your military force's integrity will actually start dropping as a result of your constant kind of burning. They get a bit down.
You get a bit depressed. I see that question all the time. It's a matter of historical debate if Attila equals Turks.
Attila is killable. It is kind of part of the game, and it kind of runs through the story of the kind of seals and the way the actual kind of narrative of the title works. So yeah, he is defeatable.
Will we see any gameplay today? Well, luckily you weren't here to watch my disastrous fight before, where I got absolutely smashed. So yes, there will be definitely. Just checking there wasn't an audio loop on that, which does happen. Questions: how many turns are there in Attila?
So Attila has, like most of our other titles, you actually have an infinite number of turns. You can play for pretty much as long as you want. But kind of the main story, the main area that we're focusing on is 395 to 465. So about 280 turns or so altogether. Rome can't become a horde. Only barbarian factions.
Yeah.
So migratory factions can become hordes. So like the Rome and the Sassanids, for example, they can't become hordes. There are 4 turns per year, and we have the 4 different seasons for each turn of the year as well.
Yeah, I mean, certain factions can survive a little bit better in the cold.
Yeah. Some factions have traits which actually make them better in snow than anyone else, and they won't actually take snow attrition. Yeah, for example, which is pretty powerful. Actually,
it's especially with the snow lines moving down and colder winters and so on. Viking forefather factions are very fun for that.
I mean, in a lot of ways it makes you more defensive in a way, because you'll be living in these snow regions, right? Because this is your home territory, as it were. It just means that it's very hard for anyone to actually assault you, because you've just got the home turf advantage.
Especially if they have to siege over long periods of time, build up siege weapons, and the winter comes, and they'll just lose a load of people just due to attrition. So, and you can really drag out fights up there to force like larger armies and just whittle them away just using the weather. Trying to get that one. I don't even understand that question.
No, raised cities can only be kind of recolonised by sending an army to them and then using manpower from the force as well as an amount of gold in order to restore them.
Also, guys, also put question at the beginning of everything. It makes it a lot easier for us to actually pick them up. That way we'll be able to capture if you want.
Guerrilla deployment. So almost every army has a unit of scout cavalry generally, which are able to deploy in guerrilla deployment. So kind of most forces will appear with one because they're useful for the line of sight and stuff like that, especially in land battles. We also have the raider forces. So a lot of raider units are able to deploy in the guerrilla deployment zone, actually, and then you kind of use them to surprise the enemy, and they get a lot more kind of hiding buffs and stuff like that, so they're harder to see.
On that subject, so for invasion, land and sea battles, when you bring your armies in from the sea, how's that been changed?
So kind of one of the biggest changes I suppose we've done is we've made it so that your cavalry and your siege engines, when you're kind of doing a combined battle, so you've got land and sea assault, they will actually be deployed on land at the start of the battle. So you don't need to have to get them off the ships and redo it. They've docked further down the coastline and have approached the battlefield, while your ships are then able to land.
Yeah, especially when you've been talking about like scout units and so forth, the ability of them to actually be there and scouting out the area. So that's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. What questions do we have? Guys, don't forget, just put your questions down there and we'll see what we can get for you. Can enemy siege units be captured and put into your own army? Yes.
Yes, they still can, that's the thing. There's a kind of chance that you'll capture the enemy siege equipment at the end of the battle if they're intact.
Does that mean you can get the fabled 21 units in a stack?
Maybe not.
I have seen rumours of 22 units in the stack by the luck of the draw with that one.
I think we know about that one.
There is a few things in the that have been changed. Like I mentioned before, there was a change to merging units. Like you can do it in Rome 2 if you could control an M over the 2 units, but now there's been a UI change where you can actually do that.
Yeah. You can select multiple units of the same type, and then once you've hovered over the one unit, the first unit you selected generally give you the option to merge, so you can just kind of do it all really quickly just using your mouse.
Yeah, especially
really
with hordes, it's a very important feature. You're moving forward all the time. Sometimes you won't have the chance to sit it out and get the replenishment back on your force. So you got to keep moving forward, get those mercenaries on your force, and just keep moving. So sometimes by the end of by 30 turns in, the army you start out with is completely changed by a mix of hardcore mercenaries and who was ever left from the beginning of the campaign.
Yeah, exactly. It's in caps. That's easy to read. Yes, there are unique Attila maps. We have Ctesiphon, Ravenna, Rome and Constantinople are our unique maps for Attila.
Will there be a tutorial?
Yep, so we've got a kind of full prologue that you can play through, which kind of talks about the kind of early elements of the game and kind of the events leading up to the start position of the title, and as well as introducing the Huns and some of the new kind of mechanics that we've got going on.
Brilliant. How are agents going to work?
So agents are still characters that you recruit on the campaign map. They still kind of move around and perform different actions. We have 3 types. So we've got priests, we've got spies, and we've got champions. And the 3 of them do different things. So champions are generally about directly harming the enemy or the enemy's army, like destroying their baggage trains, things like that. They can also do things like they can sap walls on enemy cities, for example. Spies are generally about kind of vision and just impeding armies by slowing them down, things like that. And then priests are basically all about influence and kind of spreading your religion throughout the kind of nations. But we've completely redone all the skill trees as well, so there's kind of whole new ways to explore. So characters won't start off with all their abilities, you actually have to kind of level them up and unlock those abilities in order to use them.
Yeah, I can see also a thing that has popped up is obviously when I'm doing my skill trees for a lot of the generals, you obviously got the one which starts you down the tree, and then you got one on the top left which just seems to vary sometimes.
So that's a general's innate ability. Basically, every general is born with a thing that makes them them, right? It's kind of like their character a little bit, but it's their character from a kind of mechanical gameplay perspective. Generally battle, but a lot of them affect campaign as well. So that's just kind of like that. Yeah, they're kind of a little bit of starting character when they begin with before they become what you turn them into.
Makes them very useful, especially if it's like something you need, especially at that time. So I guess you can put them as a governor or put them as your land force, depending on which one.
And they'll continue to kind of level up, improve themselves. Kind of almost anything you do with them, as long as they're doing something, they're going to get better at what they do.
Yeah, I did find is that the skill trees different for certain factions, or are they same across the board?
No, different factions, different cultures have different skill trees.
Yeah, because when the Eastern Roman Empire, and obviously considering such a vast area of territory, public order is a problem, especially when you start losing cities, and that ripples through your empire, and everyone's uncertain times, and everyone's getting very worried. Then you're just like, governor's upgraded, public order, public order.
But then you want to use kind of your religious bonuses as well to help kind of balance that all out. You've got to kind of hit up multiple fronts in order to keep that public order balanced.
But then doesn't make you as strong on the field compared to the barbarian factions and so on, who are just all out war. So, yeah, it's a fine balance. Will climates destroy regions?
No, climate won't directly destroy regions. They're only destroyed through actions, such as being sieged and destroyed, or you raising it yourself.
How does it affect fertility of regions and so forth?
So every time you raise a region, it will affect and lower its fertility. That's kind of a permanent thing as well. It's very difficult to get fertility to go back up again, right? It's kind of more about the decline of the fertility.
So does it decline through the colder weathers and winters and so forth?
Yeah, so the climate change as that goes on, so you've got kind of multiple climate change phases throughout the game. And as each of those goes, the fertility kind of globally lowers. Yeah. But some regions start more fertile than others, so kind of around the Mediterranean, they're really fertile. But as you kind of go further north, like there's less fertility there, so when that lowers, it will affect you negatively more earlier than in the Mediterranean, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So, yeah.
So as, when I was playing my Eastern Roman Empire, everyone was just like, "Oh my God, you got so much food! How have you got so much food?" I'm just like, do own Egypt and like some of the breadbaskets of like Europe. I mean, I'm pretty safe right now.
Yeah, Alexandria is a huge
Yeah.
area of food.
Well, that's just why it's been so important for history. The Nile and so forth. I think the only way you can probably unite Rome is by conquering the Western or Eastern Roman Empire.
Yeah, so you'll still remain as two distinct factions at present. You won't be united. Well, that's a good idea.
Will there be any historical battles?
Yeah, so we've got loads. I think we've got as many, if not more, than we had in Rome 2.
I was actually counting them
Have a
up.
funny feeling?
I think there was maybe more than Rome 2.
Yeah, I think we did, because
yeah.
we've got like the Catalonian plains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We've got loads of things, and like the siege of Ravenna and things about the Roman separatists trying to destroy the emperor.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's quite a lot in there actually.
Were the Huns the ones who drank blood from the ears of their horses?
I hope so. I hope that's true.
I was 100% sure that was like the basically propaganda to scare everyone.
I suspect it's probably the Romans trying to do them down. So with regards to multiplayer, we're going to have essentially what we had in Rome 2, so it's still 2-player multiplayer campaigns.
Who is the strongest, best unit?
Depends what you want. I mean, different factions have the best unit of different classes. For example, my personal favourite are the elite ballistari from East Rome, because they've got stupid amounts of ammo and deal huge damage if you can get them to like the flank of an enemy. So if you can hold them and do a kind of hammer and anvil, but with crossbowmen basically, you can absolutely just destroy anything.
From my personal playing so far, I used to play Medieval 1 and Medieval 2 almost religiously. And there was a unit that the Byzantines could get, which was the Varanian Guard, which was the Vikings in grey armour. And they have a similar unit, not the Varanian Guard, but definite Nordic mercenaries of some description, big axemen, and they are fun. I can't remember their name, but they are dangerous. The question there: how does climate change work in the game?
So climate change, basically, to kind of roll back a bit, so the game's based on the idea of chapters. So we've got the kind of 7 seals of the apocalypse, which the kind of Huns are meant to embody for the Christian people of the time. Mm-hmm. And with each of these seals opening, there is a climate change which occurs. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of stepped, as it were. So we've done it all in chapters. So as each climate changes occurs, there is just an instant hit, which is interesting because you've got to kind of deal with it quickly. It's not like it slowly grows on you. It's just you've suddenly got this problem. Mm-hmm. Like we kind of present you with a problem. You actually have to try and fix it. Yeah. Like as quickly as possible, basically, because it can destroy your empire really quickly. Yeah. If all your food production goes down by a lot quickly, it's very hard to deal with. Mm. Especially if you're the East Romans and have like a border, and it's like, oh no, what do you do?
Should we go for quite a lot of questions?
This is amazing. I'm not sure you can read all these.
How many have we got in chat? This is we've got almost 900.
Wow, awesome! Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, guys, thanks for following for the last 3 days. You'll watch me get absolutely smashed in my last battle. Will the Viking forefather factions be better seafarers than other factions?
They certainly will. They're very good when playing at sea. A lot of their bonuses come from, because they're kind of almost proto-Viking, like a lot of their bonuses come from things like looting and sacking settlements and stuff like that. So that's where they get their most kind of gold from, and it lets them then build up and expand from their home bases up in Scandinavia.
So talking about that, navies in Attila. What's different, and more importantly, another thing which I want to touch on is seasickness, which is something which is devastating if you are not prepared for it.
So we really wanted to bring in this distinction between like trained navies and just people who've been put on a boat who've maybe never been on a boat in their lives before. So
landlubbers is the term.
But like, essentially, like when you're at seasickness, you gain huge penalties to your kind of combat ability. And then, of course, if a real navy comes along, you're doomed, right? Your ships are worse, your men are feeling ill. Yeah. They can't really fight properly because they're too busy vomiting over the side. And they've got to just deal with it and fight back. So we brought that in. I think it's a really nice way of kind of bringing navies more to the kind of forefront of being a really useful thing to build and construct and have. But like other chains we've added backwater, so ships can reverse as well. Now we have oars on the ships. The ships can actually kind of oar backwards to actually get out of a situation, then re-engage. So it becomes a lot more tactical with the naval kind of thing. There's a lot more kind of posturing and moving around with it. Also, I think kind of one of the other big things is the different unit types we've got, right? So we've added fire ships, which are one of my personal new favourites. They are a bit of a glass cannon. Like, if they start setting fire to a ship, that ship pretty much gone. But they can't take damage. They really can't deal with being boarded or being attacked. They just fall very easily. They're a real glass cannon unit, which makes them quite tactical. They're a bit throwaway in some respects. Like, you use it to take out a specific target, and then if it's focused on, then it's going to fall over. But we've also done a lot of work on kind of the ramming and stuff to make it feel a bit more impactful. So the ramming ships are now a really cool element of the naval battles.
They look really sharp. They just look like they're going to just eat your ship.
Yeah, and when they collide, the effect is just huge. Like, they actually rock the other ship, kind of almost out of the water.
I must admit, when I first seen the Roman ships, I got flashbacks. So I used to read the Asterix books, and they looked quite similar to some of the Roman ships.
I used to love
fore
and after castles.
Yeah. What else should we jump into here? See what other questions I get.
But yeah, so can you move troops out to sea? Are they going to get boats fire? As you said, like, any unit can enter a transport fleet, but of course, while they're moving, they get seasickness. They're really vulnerable. So once again, that's where the navies become useful. You can control the waves with them.
One or two questions I saw on the forums and on Reddit. One of them was talking about beefing up garrison forces. And one way I think you do is with your governor. If you have a governor, he becomes a general.
So so if you've not got a general in a settlement when it's being attacked, actually the governor of the province, so this is all 3 settlements within that province, will take over the army should a battle occur. Now, it's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it, really? Because it's great because you get all his bonuses, because, you know, the way I like to play, I get a venerable general and make him a governor, because he's got loads of bonuses, loads of buffs. The province is going to really be good and develop, but if something happens, I've got someone who's a decent leader who can lead my forces. But on the other side, if he dies, I've got no governor anymore. But I mean, like, the other big way of improving garrisons is just to build buildings in the settlements, right? All the buildings you're building are actually going to improve the garrisons, and we've really tried to kind of beef them up a bit more so the garrisons are actually really strong. Yeah. Certainly kind of towards the late game.
Let's see if we've got any other questions for people.
What's coming up a lot?
What will be the climate change's effects?
So climate change's main effects are to lower fertility of regions. Fertility in itself lowers the kind of food output of that region, which in itself is going to affect your unit replenishment, it's going to affect your public order, it's going to affect morale of units, it's going to affect hordes passing through it. It's a small thing, but it then affects a lot of features throughout the game.
Will there be a road system? I do not believe there is. The more developed settlements are generally mean just...
Yeah, so the settlements you do get the roads. We do have the roads leading between all the settlements.
How many factions are there in a grand campaign? Ooh, now I'm counting in my head.
We've got a lot, I think. I think it's the most we've had in a while. Playable-wise, like, not as many, but certainly factions are in the game. We also have emergent factions that are going to appear as well.
Oh, there was a question for that about emergent factions somewhere. Will there be emergent factions?
Yeah, so I mean, like, factions can emerge. You can liberate factions as well. One of my favourite things of the Saxons is to go over to Britain, liberate it, and then you get the Kingdom of the Britons appearing.
Yeah, I got that. I liberated them, and they eventually came to fight the Franks with me with a large kind of Britain Romano army of Roman style units. And it was nice to see them turning up to fight the battle for me. So let's go kind of recap a few of the things. So we talked about the tier system. So if you guys weren't there, we haven't really touched on it too much, but it's an important part of the game, especially like how it will progress, especially like
so I mean, like, as I say, the tier system is basically a way of judging a unit's kind of potential ability against other units of the same type. So as you go through the game, you start at tier 1. Now, tier 1 units are generally kind of mobs and things like that. They've got very, very low morale, they break easily, they're not really disciplined troops, but as you progress up and go through the campaign, you unlock tier 2 units, and then further on, tier 3. Tier 3 units, really disciplined, loads of morale, great armour, great things, whole different unit sets, all upgraded. And then they're just better fighters. So, like, one of the things is kind of early game, you're going to see a lot of troops running, their morale's going to break, they're going to run away, because these are tier 1 units, right? They're not really highly trained veterans.
Yeah.
But then as you kind of progress through the campaign, you'll be able to build the tier 3s, and the tier 3s are strong, right? They're going to hold the line. These are your kind of tough troops, as it were. So.
So yeah, for a lot of the previews you've been seeing, and especially on my game as well, we only have 40 turns, so I don't think I'd even get to tier 2 units at times.
No, you're still. I mean,
so
40 turns
I think
is
maybe I
about
get one.
of the game.
Yeah. So if you're wondering on battle speed for that might be also, this is an older version of the game. So yeah, let's see if we can grab 2 more questions, and I think we'll call it a night. I'm actually going to keep playing. I'm going to finish my little campaign.
Through the night, or?
Not all the way through the night, but I will be there. Yes, Greek Fire will be there. It's going to be painful to anyone who gets caught by that. As Rome, can you give a settlement to a barbarian people?
So we don't have kind of direct region gifting at present. However, if there's a horde passing through your land, you are able to actually gift them the region that they're in order to kind of help them settle down, as it were, and stop them kind of rampaging over your faction.
There was one I quite liked. Where is it? It's the benefits of being a Christian faction. Is there many differences between the religion? Or
yeah, each of the religion gives you different kind of factional abilities, but not on the religion, and each one is kind of unique to itself. For example, Christian religions tend to be very much public order based as well as growth based, so they're kind of self-fulfilling, as it were. Like once you're Christian, it starts spreading really quickly. It's kind of like fire, which is something of the time as well. You know, once Christianity kicked off proper, it just spread like wildfire across the lands. I mean, you've even got barbarian tribes in the kind of northwest of Europe becoming Arian Christian, for example.
Yes, that was it. I was trying to remember what the religion of the Ostrogoths was, and that was definitely theirs. Can Rome become a migratory faction if settlements are gone? No, that's only for the barbarians. And
it's pretty much for everyone except the Sassanids and the Romans.
Yeah. I think we'll take one more, and I'll let you choose one. So if you see one, you can go for it.
Stock of battles we've done. I'm trying to think of a good one. What's one that's been asked a lot?
Yeah, you'll get to see those. So.
There's too many. Modding, we're going to talk about at a future point. We're still currently kind of considering what we're going to bring to it. We'll definitely have at least what we had for Rome 2. The map is like, I'm just going to answer them.
I know.
Yeah, the map's a little bit bigger. It's kind of similar. We're still kind of concentrating in Europe, but we do now have the kind of Scythian wastes towards the east, which we didn't have before. City view. So you can actually preview the battle map on campaign before you fight a settlement battle, which is kind of our new version of the city view. There is a button that you can press. There is a button that you can press that will actually bring it up, and you can actually see what the battle will be like before you fight.
Alright, well guys, I think we're going to wrap it up with that. Thank you very much, Simon, and that was great. So I'm now going to put myself back into the campaign. I will try and not be too badly massacred.
Cheers,
so, see you later, guys. I'm going to go quickly over to a break, and Simon's going to leave us, and then I'm going to come back and play a bit more of a campaign for you guys. So, see you guys soon. Bye.